All right, guys, Rooster here in Tennessee, 8-pill standard 2879. This one's for Mr. Mark, and this is a brand new Fatboy just taken out of the plastic. And he hit me up here 4 or 5 days ago and asked me if I had one. I actually did happen to have this one sitting here, so relatively no wait time on it aside from my slow ass getting around doing a video of it. So we'll test it out. I'm only going to hit it with about 40 watts average and 110 PEP. Now, obviously, this amp can take a lot more than that. My recommended drive for this thing is probably going to be a little bit different than what other people are going to tell you. I'm going to say stay between 200 and 250 PEP. That's my personal opinion. Can you put more into it? Sure, you can put more into it, but you're not going to see the same amount of gain. It's going to be diminishing returns. And what I mean by that is if 200 watts in gets you 1800 out, PEP we're talking, and you put another 100 watts into it, let's say you go from 200 to 300 and you only start doing 2 kW, well, it really didn't make a lot of sense for you to put another 100 watts in just to gain 200 watts more out. So something to think about when you guys are getting these amps. Is the juice really worth the squeeze? You know, the pressure that you put on the amp, the stress you put onto it, the longevity that you cut into it, it's generally not. The difference between 1600 watts, and 2000 watts, it's not going to be a big difference over the air. It's not going to be, super noticeable. Is it noticeable? Yeah, probably it's a little noticeable. But in the end of the day, would you rather have 1,600 watts for 5 years or 2,000 watts for a year without having to, work on your amp? These generally somewhere between 1,650 and 1,800 watts PEP, pretty safe number to run these at. And that all depends on your watt meter too. So with that being said, let's get into it. We're not going to expect full output out of it, but we do have certain numbers that we're looking for. We'd like to see somewhere between 500 and 600 average and around 1,250 PEP out of it, considering we're only hitting it with 40 average and 100 watts PEP. So first thing I'll do, I'm going to key it up, make sure my dead key's within reason. We've got a 2,500 watt slug, and we're keying it about 250, so pretty conservative dead key there. 14.8 audio. Jump up to 80. Audio. Yeah, we can get it to jump up to 80. And you guys see how that voice tone, again, average power is highly dependent on someone's voice tone. So we can make it draw 65, we can make it draw 80. But about 80, 81 amps is the max that it's drawing right now. What will it draw with the maximum amount of drive? I would say somewhere between 120 and 150 amps. If you're on sideband, which this amp does not have sideband, it'll draw close to 150. If you're just on AM, generally 125 to 135 maximum current draw. Okie dokie, let's see how this thing does. Average power first. There's our 2,500 watt slug, if you guys can see that. Top scale. Audio. Hello. So creeping up to about 550 with just a certain tone of voice in there. Some may call that 600. We're going to call it 550. So definitely doing good. Considering we're only putting 40 watts of average power in, that's pretty damn good. Over 10 times what we're putting into it, so that's a good sign. Obviously, that means if they were putting 80 watts average in, you'd be seeing close to 800 or 900 watts average, somewhere in that ballpark. PEP, again, we're looking at the same scale, top scale. Oh, check, audio. So that 15 is 1,500. Check, audio, radio check, getting on down. Audio, check. So about 1,400 watts PEP. And again, we're only putting about 100 to 110 into it. So this thing's really getting with it. Could I go out there and put it on my other power supply and gain 100 watts? Probably. But considering the way we're driving it, there's really no need for me to run it on anything other than this power supply over here. So clean bill of health on this amp. No sticky relays or anything like that. Not putting any kind of noise in my receive. Just stuff we like to check for before we ship these out. Again, every amp gets a video, largest to the smallest. You guys saw earlier I just did one on a little 1-pill 2290. And it's just because amps are funny business. There's just so much room for error on the customer's end once they get an amp and something doesn't go right. I don't want people to immediately be like, oh, it's your fault. You sold me a bad amp. Sometimes that happens. Stuff gets tore up in shipping. Sometimes it does happen. But a lot of times when people have amp troubles, it can fall on the customer and they don't even know it. So always like to do these test videos before I ship stuff out. Hope you guys enjoy it. Fatboy 8 pill 2879 standard. Nice running amp. Hope the customer likes it. And we'd like to get this one shipped out today or tomorrow. So appreciate it, everybody. Very, very busy around this time of the year. Everybody have a good day. Check out the website, roostercb.com. Lots and lots of used equipment coming up for sale. Lots of lightly used equipment, lots of radio deals coming up. So just stay tuned and always check out the website. That's roostercb.com. Everybody have a good day. Rooster in Tennessee. See you. Bye.